The Red Raven pregame show here on the Red Raven Sports Network. I'm Shane Neal. We're getting ready for this Wednesday night matchup between the Fort Scott Greyhounds and the Coffeyville Community College Red Ravens. We'll have first set coming up just around the corner, but we caught up with Coach Candy Midget yesterday about their win over Oklahoma Wesleyan JV and getting ready for this stretch of games coming up this week. Here's our conversation with Coach Midget as we get ready for set number one.
Shane Neal, KGGF Sports. We're here at Nellis Hall talking to Red Raven Volleyball Coach Candy Midget. Coach, been a while since we chatted last, but good to see you. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing well. And your team coming off of a nice straight sets win over Oklahoma Wesleyan JV yesterday, and has to feel good to see an opponent that you saw early in the season that obviously beat you in 4 sets, and it was not opening night of the season, but you see that opponent again a little bit later on. Your team much better, much more disciplined, much more of a complete performance, and gets a little bit of revenge. That had to be nice to see.
Yes, absolutely. We talked about, playing with a sense of urgency. Definitely, that revenge factor, of course. But I felt like opening night, we should have taken them 3-0 anyway, but definitely playing with more discipline, more urgency as the season comes on.
Coach, since the start of the season, of course, you won your first game in the second week of the season, I should say. But since then, much closer to a 500 record. This team clearly progressing and developing as the season goes on. What have been some things you've seen from the team, both from your sophomore leaders and from your freshmen, and what they're improving on the volleyball court that's led to more success in recent weeks?
Definitely more maturity. We've talked about paying attention to the little things, more discipline on and off the court. I also feel like just the gelling together, just playing together, and then also talking. That's one of our huge points. You have to be able to talk on and off the court to be able to make it through, this team sport. So I think we're improving on those things.
Coach, you have two more matches, I should say, coming up this week with a chance to kind of piece together multiple matches in a row. I think that's really the next step for, obviously, a team is to, have those 2-3 strong performances in a row, stack games, stack matches together. But Fort Scott coming to Nellis Hall tomorrow, and then Bethany JV on Thursday. What does your team got to do to keep this riding this momentum and have a strong week?
We absolutely have to. That's our goal, is to have a strong week, and like you said, piece together a couple wins to get us going a little bit. Definitely stay on top of the ball, looking to make first ball kills, make sure our serve receive is on point, things like that to get through this week.
And Coach, as we know with the Jayhawk Conference, no such thing as an easy night. You already get Cali out of the way. You already get, of course, as well as Highland out of the way, but you have KCK coming up, you have Johnson County coming up, you still have plenty of tough matches. Fort Scott, of course, tomorrow, like we talked about. So what's the key to, in this second half of the season, finding those key Jayhawk wins that are going to set you up well for the tournament?
Discipline. I think we have to be disciplined, especially in the non-conference games, to be able to have that discipline in conference games. We also have to pay attention to the little things. We're still talking about details. I tell them once we get those details down, bigger things will come. So I think, putting those all together and then putting together a complete match. I still feel like even though we had the win yesterday, we can go be better than that. So we're still, looking for that complete set.
And Coach, I obviously don't intend for this to have you, pick players over other players, but with obviously a very new team, only 6 returners, like we've talked about as the year's gone on. I know a lot of people are curious as this year's gone on, as we're about at the halfway point. Who are some players, if you can give us a couple names, that have impressed you, surprised you, where you've gone from workouts when they first got on campus to tomorrow night's game? Who are some players that have been like, wow, they've gotten a lot better in this amount of time?
I think I really can't even pick one player. I feel like a team as a whole, they've impressed me. They just came on, they've worked hard, they've done everything I've asked. We don't get a lot of time off in these stretches, so I feel like just putting their nose to the grindstone is something that they've done as a team. I've had a couple sophomores step up as leaders, and I feel like that's super important. But then I still have sophomores that are right there talking to every single player and helping them through it, helping them through matches, and if there's a mistake made, what they can do better. So I feel like as a team as a whole, they've really impressed me as being hard workers and staying with it.
Great stuff. Ravens playing some good volleyball. They got a win yesterday. They'll look to make it 2 in a row against Fort Scott. Thanks so much, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate Coach Midget for her time, of course, and as her team gets ready to go in set number 1, we're going to step away for just a few moments here on RRSN. When we come back, Chris Freund has the call from Nellis East. It's the Ravens and the Greyhounds. It's coming up next on the Red Raven Sports Network.
And good evening from Nellis East. Getting ready for some great volleyball action here on the Red Raven Sports Network. Chris Frank, glad to be with you here on a Wednesday night in Coffeyville. Tonight's matchup between your Coffeyville Red Ravens and the Fort Scott Greyhounds. Looks like everybody is ready. Coffeyville sits at 5-11 on the season. Looking for the first conference win. After kind of a slower start, they're around the 500 mark since the opening week of the season. Head coach Candy Midget has done a very good job at getting these athletes ready to go. And here we go. And it's out. So Coffeyville takes a 1-0 lead in set number 1, just underway, of course. Brianna Patterson with the serve. Try to keep it in bounds. Doing a good job of that. Nice dig by Fort Scott. There's a nice kill right there. I believe that was Dayton Bogle on the kill. The sophomore out of Wichita. 2-0 CCC. Another serve from Patterson. Good decision there to put it over. But another kill this time by Nadosia Simeon. So 3-0. Red Ravens off to a good start. Another nice serve. Coffeyville doing the job to keep that alive. They got to put it over. So there's a free play for Fort Scott. Nice block, still keeping it alive. That's going to be a Coffeyville point. In the net too much, 4-0. Just underway, set number 1. In the net, but somehow able to keep it alive. Must have been partially blocked. And a nice kill right there. What a job by, I believe that was Dayton Bogle on the kill. And a quick timeout for Fort Scott. 5-0 is the lead for CCC here in set number 1. We'll be back in, well, I almost gave it time. But we'll be back with more action here in just a minute on the Red Raven Sports Network. Terrible joke. I don't. It went with Shea. And we are back. A quick 5-0 beginning for Coffeyville. There's a nice play by Fort Scott. That kill by Amber Anderson of the Greyhounds. Coffeyville 5-11 on the season. Fort Scott 2-14. Fort Scott serving down 5-1. That is out. Point Coffeyville, 6-1. Appreciate you joining us here on RRSN. Served by Ashlyn Nelson. Nice serve. Had to reach to keep that one in play. That one is going to, we thought it was going to be out of bounds, but they keep it going. And a free play that goes out of bounds, so it'll be a point to Fort Scott. 6-2. So Sydney Johnson will serve. Her team down 6-2 here in set number 1. Nice block. And a point for Coffeyville. Kalu with the block. And the point for Fort Scott, 6-3 now. Nice serve. Got to take it over. So free play for Fort Scott. Nice play, but a good job to keep it alive for Coffeyville. Now they're just going to put it back over again. It's in the net, so 6-4 Coffeyville. The free ball turns into a point for Fort Scott. Nice dig. Little too deep in the net, so it'll be a point back to Coffeyville. 7-4 Coffeyville in set number 1. It's another busy night on the Red Raven Sports Network. Serve nice in the corner there. And it's out of bounds. Point Coffeyville, 8-4. Here in about 50 minutes or so at 7 o'clock, get ready for the Red Raven Coaches Show. Nice serve again. Barely putting it over. Nice move. Barely putting it over the net leads to a Fort Scott point. 8-5 Coffeyville. Join Coach Nick Delver with Shane Neal for the Red Raven Coaches Show. Not only here on the Red Raven Sports Network, but on US 98 if you happen to be out and about. There's a nice serve. Almost an ace, if you will. 8-6. Fort Scott doing a good job at coming back. That one is in as well. 8-7. So the timeout did Fort Scott some good. They only trail 8-7 here in set number 1. Coffeyville looking to get back on track. That was a nice hit right there. Keeping it alive is Fort Scott. Nice rally, but it ends in the net. (9-7) Coffeyville. Out of bounds on the serve, so back to Fort Scott. Aubrey Rodena with the serve for Fort Scott. Well-placed serve, and all of a sudden, we're tied at 9. So Fort Scott doing a good job. Down 5-0 to begin this set. They've come back to tie it at 9. Trying to put it over on the second hit, ends up going in the net. Olivia Murphy. Didn't really have anyone around her, so I understand why she went for that particular move. Fort Scott now leads 10-9. Out of bounds. Off the kill. So 11-9 11-9 Fort Scott. Fort Scott under second-year head coach Tricia Ham. And I believe a timeout is, nope. Nope. Actually, they're going to a review. So I guess they're going to see if that is out of bounds or not. But we'll see how long this review takes. Of course, the official review, I believe that's brand new for the Jayhawk this year. Not only for volleyball, but I believe all sports. So looking at it right now, yeah. They're looking at the top of the net. They're looking at the top of the net with different camera angles, so we're able to kind of watch it from our vantage point up here. The last game I was able to broadcast, we actually had our first review, our first challenge, and the first accepted challenge. We'll see if I can keep my streak going here of challenges going the way of Coffeyville. So now, going over things with the official scorekeeper, and it'll be a point for Coffeyville. It was tipped. So what I'm gathering just from watching the replay, the ball was actually tipped right at the net. So it was tipped off of Fort Scott, and it will be a point to Coffeyville, which resets the score 10-all. Nice serve as Coffeyville gets their serve back, trying to keep it alive, and a nice kill. Amber Anderson from Overland Park makes the kill. Puts Fort Scott back in the lead, 11-10. Nice serve. Trying to get in formation here. Nice dive. Great back and forth action. And that's a kill. I mean, that's hit right at Josie Harper of Coffeyville. There's nothing really you can do about that. It's on you before you know it. So 12-10, Fort Scott. Popped up in the air. Nice kill, but it's out. So point goes to Fort Scott. Fort Scott up 13-10 here in set number one, and a timeout taken by Coffeyville. We'll take a timeout ourselves. We'll be back with more action from set number one here on the Red Raven Sports Network. Fort Scott is serving as action resumes here on the Red Raven Sports Network. Chris Bourne, glad to be alongside with you here. Haley Schraub with the serve. A kill, a block, but way to keep it alive. Put in the back over, put it in the spot where they ain't. I believe that was Olivia Murphy with the shot there that gives the point to Coffeyville. And the serve. A little bit of miscommunication there, but still able to get it over the net. There's a kill. Nadesha Simeon with the kill. Coffeyville back within one. Fort Scott leads 13-12, but here's the serve. That's going to be out of bounds. Tied at 13 now. And the student section has showed up in full force. And Coffeyville has responded. Nice dig. Putting it over. Was going to be inbounds, I believe, right on the line. So had to go ahead and try to keep it in play. But a point goes to Fort Scott. Fort Scott now leads 14-13. Olivia Lazenby with the serve for Fort Scott. And it is out, so point goes to Coffeyville. Got a rain just a little in on the radar there. Got some good power with it, though. Nice serve. Keeping it in. A free ball for Fort Scott. Way to keep that one going over. Coffeyville's able to set it up now. Nice play. I believe that was Murphy on that point for Coffeyville. So Coffeyville down 15-14 with Patterson on the serve here. A nice block leading to a Coffeyville point. We're saying the name Nadesha Simeon. So we're saying that name a lot. I want to make sure we say that correctly. Nadesha Simeon with the block leading to the point. And that actually ended up going off of, I believe, the libero, Haley Schropp. So point Coffeyville. And all of a sudden we're up. I say we, as in Coffeyville, up 16-15. Another nice serve there. Well-placed ball there. And it's going to be out of bounds. Coffeyville with another point. Actually, they're going to call that a point for Fort Scott, I believe. So the score tied at 16. Looking to set up. Nice job to keep that one in play. Nice kill leading to a point for Coffeyville. As Bartlett checks in for Caden O'Brien. Nelson with the serve. Got to put it over. It was a nice tip. Nice play there by Sydney Johnson for Fort Scott. Serve goes back to them. Tied at 17, so an exciting set number one here at Nellis East. Looking to set it up. Keeping it in play, trying to keep it alive. They got to go over with it. Nice job, Coffeyville. Keeping the point alive here. And that's out. So the point goes to Coffeyville. Great crowd on hand here at Nellis East. Riley Winchon with the serve. That was a nice serve. Fort Scott, a little miscommunication, couldn't keep that point alive. So Coffeyville with the 19-17 lead here in set number one. Looking to keep it alive, and they do. Nice play. Schropp is all over the floor trying to keep points alive for Fort Scott, but another point for Coffeyville. 20-17. And that serve goes out of bounds. So 20-18 after the point to Fort Scott. Here in about 35 minutes, it's the Red Raven Coaches Show here on the Red Raven Sports Network and on US 98. Here's the serve. That's going to go out. How are they able to keep that They are. How in the world were they able to keep that point going? I don't know. Great play, Coffeyville. My goodness. Now they're regrouping in system. Nice block. Nice rally back and forth. And a kill and a point. Dayton Bogle. What a shot. What a shot. Point, Coffeyville. And a timeout taken by Fort Scott. 21-18 is the score. And CCC leads here in set number 1. We'll be back on the Red Raven Sports Network. Red Raven fans, Domino's Pizza in Coffeyville has your game day cravings covered. As a proud partner of the Red Raven Sports Network, they're here to fuel your team spirit with fresh pizza, wings, and more. Call or visit Domino's today and keep the Raven Pride going strong. 21-18. Coffeyville with the lead on the serve. What a block. Can you do a half block? I'm not sure if you can. But Murphy and Bell on that block with the lead extended now, 22-18. Coffeyville with the serve here in set number 1. What a kill. Holy cow. Alyssa Bartlett. That had the spicy marinara on that one. Speaking of Domino's. And another great play by the Raven front court, Annabelle Bell. And all of a sudden it's 24-18. Trying to keep their set alive here. Nice dig. A little miscommunication, so the point will go to Fort Scott. Fort Scott down 24-19. Rodina with the serve. That was heavy spike, but out of bounds, so 24-20. Wanted to put set number 1 away in style, just a little too far. Have a chance to do it again. Fort Scott looking to keep this set alive. Back and forth, got to get it over, and they don't. And the Red Ravens take set 1, 25-20. Red Ravens take set number 1, 25-20. We'll be back with more on the Red Raven Sports Network. Back here on the Red Raven Sports Network, Coffeyville takes set number 1, 25-20. Coffeyville got off to a hot start. I mean, they were up 5-0 in set number 1. Fort Scott did work their way back and had the lead a couple of times during set number 1. But Coffeyville able to come away with, there was about a 3-point stretch where they just had some outstanding plays up at the net. And they were able to take set number 1, 25-20. Chris Freund, glad to be with you here from Nellis East. Glad to be broadcasting Red Raven Volleyball here on Red Raven Sports Network. Don't forget about the Red Raven Coaches Show coming up here in about 30 minutes, not only on the Red Raven Sports Network, but on US 98 as well, getting you ready for this Saturday's football matchup. That's going to be out, so Fort Scott will take an early 1-0 lead here in set number 2. Nice block, but good job, Coffeyville, keeping it alive. Looking to set it up. Nice dig. And it went over. And I believe they're going to call that point for Coffeyville as, I don't know if both players touched the ball at the same time, so that counts as 2 or exactly. But a point Coffeyville, so 2-0. Fort Scott 2-0 Fort Scott, I should say. As the serve for Fort Scott continues, Olivia Lazenby. And another point for Fort Scott, now up 3-0. Coffeyville got off to a hot start in set number 1, going up 5-0. Right now it's 3-0 Fort Scott in set number 2. And that goes over. Ends up being an ace for Fort Scott. That one's out of bounds, so point goes to Coffeyville, 4-1 now. Ashlyn Nilsson will serve for the Red Ravens. Into the net, so point goes back to Fort Scott. (5-1) Greyhounds. And a timeout taken, I believe, by the Ravens. Coffeyville now down 6-1 here in set number 2. We'll be back on the Red Raven Sports Network. Back out of the timeout. Fort Scott up 6-1 and serving here in set number 2. Looking to set, looking to get it over. Nice dig. Ball goes in the net. It'll be point Coffeyville. Going to be out of bounds, so a point again to Coffeyville. 6-3, Fort Scott with the lead in set number 2. Coffeyville took the first set 25-20. Nice dig to keep that one alive. Nice job to put it over the net. Nice kill there by Rodriguez. 6-4, Fort Scott. And a kill by Sydney Johnson brings the serve back to Fort Scott, now up 7-4. Bounces off the ceiling. They're able to keep it going, though, Fort Scott is. Point to Coffeyville as the block went out of bounds. Coffeyville with the serve now down only 7-5. Nice serve, trying to keep it going. Good job, Fort Scott. Nice dig, keeping it going. Nice change of direction. That was a nice play, a great decision there by Camden Trahan, the freshman out of Yates Center. Brings serve back to Fort Scott. Fort Scott up 8-5 here in set number 2. They're going to call that out, but they point to Coffeyville. They're going to call that out, so we're going to hold on here to see if Fort Scott wants to challenge, and it looks like they are. So we're going to go to the video replay here. Go to the video review for the second time in this game. The first review went the way of Coffeyville. So Fort Scott coach Tricia Ham is challenging whether it was out or not on the serve. So trying to get the best angle possible to see what on the north side of the gym. And a shout out to the athletic department here, the video department of Coffeyville, able to get different angles on the shots here. Different angles, my goodness, different angles to see what's going on here. Able to toggle it back and forth to see if it's in or not, see if the call stands. The call, as it stands right now, is out with the serve going back to Coffeyville. But Fort Scott is challenging that call. They think it was in. So the officials taking a look at the video right now. Trying to get it from different angles. Great video right there. Great camera angles to tell whether that was, and the challenge is overturned. So the challenge is overturned, or the call is overturned, I should say. Fort Scott will continue serving, now up 9-5 after the successful challenge by Fort Scott. But a nice kill, and Coffeyville is fired up. Rodriguez with the kill gives the serve back to the Ravens. Now down 9-6. So the calls have 2 for 2 overturned calls in this game so far. And that was out of bounds, I believe. So point will go to Fort Scott off the serve. Nice play and a little miscommunication. Leads to a point for Coffeyville. 10-7, Fort Scott with the lead, but Coffeyville with the serve here in set number 2. Looking to set it up, and it is in. So point goes to Fort Scott. That was a nice shot in the back corner of the court. 11-7, Fort Scott with the lead. Just trying to get it over. So a free ball. And a kill by Sydney Johnson. Point to Fort Scott now. Fort Scott up 12-7 here at set number 2. And a point for Fort Scott. 13-7. Nice serve in between two players. 14-7. And a timeout taken by Coach Midget for the Ravens. So we'll take a timeout as well. Coffeyville down 14-7 here in set number 2. Back with more on the Red Raven Sports Network. Back out of the timeout. Fort Scott continues to serve. They are up 14-7 here in set number 2. Chris Fern alongside with you. Nice dig by Fort Scott. Blocked, but not blocked quite enough. Off the hands of Sydney Johnson. Stays on her side of the court, so the point goes to Coffeyville. Couple of substitutions in. Brianna Patterson and Dayton Bogle check in for Coffeyville. Patterson will serve. And a block. An attempted block. Turns into a point for Fort Scott. 15-8. Fort Scott with the lead here in set number 2. Nice rally here. And it's in. Might have been a little deeper than what Bunkel wanted, but it turned into a Red Raven point. Good results nonetheless. Ashlyn Nelson will serve. That's going to be out of bounds, so 15-9, now 15-10. Coffeyville with the serve. Might have been out of bounds, but still keeping it in play, and now miscommunication. And a point for Coffeyville, 15-11. A little bit of miscommunication between Lazenby and Schraub. Serve continues for Coffeyville. Nice back and forth. Kill and the block. The block by Sydney Johnson turns into a point. They're going to call that. They're going to call that a point for Coffeyville. I'm guessing it was a net violation. Point for Coffeyville. 15-12. Red Ravens down. That one might have been out of bounds, but they keep it in play. This Fort Scott. Looking to set up for the kill. And a nice kill there by Sydney Johnson. Point Fort Scott. Murphy checks in for Rodina. Well-placed ball turns into a Fort Scott point. Didn't have to be anything hard, didn't have to be anything fancy, just put them where the other team isn't. And you get a point. Fort Scott now leads 17-12 here in set number 2. Block, and it's going to turn into a point for Fort Scott. I tell you what, Sydney Johnson, she's been rather busy here the last few plays, making some great blocks. Which turned into Fort Scott points. That's going to be out. So serve will go to Coffeyville. 18-13. Fort Scott with the lead here in set number 2. Coffeyville did take set number 1, 25-20. Serve goes back over the net, and they're trying to kind of just put it over, just barely over the net. It turns into a Fort Scott point. So 19-13. Fort Scott with the lead and the serve. Johnson, Sydney Johnson, serving. And I believe that was tipped. And it was tipped off of a Fort Scott player. So point to the Ravens. 19-14. Set number 2. Fort Scott leading, but Coffeyville with the serve. And I believe that was a net violation against Coffeyville. So Fort Scott with the serve, up 20-14. Gets back over, and it's going to be a point for Coffeyville. (20-15) now. Coffeyville with the serve. Trying to keep it alive as Fort Scott. Man, what a dive. And they're able to keep it alive. Wow, what a play. What a play. And a kill, though, gives the point. Annabelle Bell. What a kill. And a point for Coffeyville. But man, what great hustle! I believe that was Harley Watson with the hustle for Fort Scott. Looking to place it there and doing a great job on a point for Fort Scott. 21-16. Fort Scott with the lead and now the serve here in set number 2. Great decision, but a great job by Fort Scott to keep it alive. And it's going to go off of off of Rogers, I should say. Serve back to Coffeyville. Bell will serve. Put it in a great spot. But it's going to turn into a kill and a point for Fort Scott. Amber Anderson with the kill. That's going to be out. Serve back to Coffeyville. 22-18, a very tight second set here. Looking to set it up. A free ball for Fort Scott. The set might have gone a little bit too close to the net, so point Coffeyville. 22-19. Coffeyville with the serve, down 3. The free ball turns into a point for Fort Scott. Block attempt is no good. 23-19 Fort Scott. Lazenby with the serve. And a point for Fort Scott. So 24-19. Fort Scott with a chance here to take set number 2. And it goes into the net. And Fort Scott takes set number 2, 25-19. So Coffeyville takes set number 1. Fort Scott takes set number 2. We'll be back with set number 3 here on the Red Raven Sports Network. Coffeyville took set 1, 25-20. Fort Scott came back and took set 2, 25-19. Getting ready for set number 3 here from Nellis East. Coffeyville with the serve as we begin set number 3. And a kill and a point for Coffeyville. That's a way to get things started. Nice kill by Ashlyn Nelson. We appreciate you joining us here on the Red Raven Sports Network. A kill, but a block. Coffeyville keeps it alive. And it's out. So point goes to Coffeyville, up 2-0. There's a challenge on the last call. I think they're talking about whether there's a tip or not. So for the third time tonight, we will go to video review. I think they're trying to decide whether a Coffeyville player tipped it as it went out of bounds. And it was tipped. So the call on the court has been reversed. And instead of 2-0 Coffeyville, it is now tied at 1 with Fort Scott with the serve. So 3 successful challenges in this match so far. There's a block. Point to Fort Scott. Fort Scott now up 2-1. Not a bad decision for Fort Scott. Hannah Rogers just trying to put it over. Ends up hitting off the net. And leading to a point for Coffeyville. Now tied at 2. Just starting over on US 98 and try to keep that alive as Fort Scott. They do. Sets up probably a free ball. Out of bounds. Nice spike, but it went out of bounds. So Fort Scott will have the lead and the serve. Now up 3-2 Fort Scott. Also on the Red Raven Sports Network, the Red Raven Coaches Show with Shane Neal and Coach Nick Delbler. Just tried to sneak it over the net. Turns into a point. Trying to keep it alive. Man, look at the fight. Look at the hustle by the Red Ravens, but it's tipped and leads to a point for Fort Scott. Now Fort Scott up 4-2 here in set number 3. Coffeyville took set 1. Fort Scott took set 2. There's a nice spike. Was that Trahan, I believe, with the kill, with the spike? 5-2 Fort Scott, set number 3. And that is out of bounds. Point goes to Coffeyville. That was a nice play. Made sure to not touch the net, but Dayton Vogel is able to tip it back. Keep the serve going for Coffeyville. Now down 5-4. Tip. Now Coffeyville setting up. Spike goes out. (6-4) Fort Scott. Trying to tip it in between like the Bermuda Triangle. Recovered by Fort Scott. Spike a block but kept alive by Fort Scott. Looking to set up. Way to keep it alive, Fort Scott again. Great back and forth here. And a point for Fort Scott. That was a nice decision by Molly Murphy of the Greyhounds. Now 7-4 Fort Scott. That was a great back and forth between these two teams. Basically an ace. Keeps it going for Fort Scott. Now 8-4 and a timeout taken. Fort Scott leads 8-4 over Coffeyville here in set number 3. We'll be back on the Red Raven Sports Network. Fort Scott with the serve as we come out of the timeout. Fort Scott leads 8-4 here in set number 3. Out of bounds. Coffeyville having a hard time keeping those in bounds. Got to reel her in just a tad. There's a serve out of bounds. So point will go to Coffeyville. Fort Scott keeping it alive, trying it again, this time floating it over. That ball leads to a Coffeyville point. Away from the Dolly Parton score of 9-5. Now 9-6 Fort Scott. But Coffeyville with the serve. Doing a good job keeping it alive. Can they put it over? They can. They keep it alive. Nice jump, Coffeyville. Keeping this one going. And a dive leads to a Fort Scott point. Bogle checks out. Harper checks in for Coffeyville. And that's going to be out. Point Fort Scott. 11-6. Way to keep it alive, Coffeyville. Now Fort Scott sets it up, and another dig for Coffeyville. And there's a point against Fort Scott, or a point for Fort Scott, I should say. Not sure what happened, but in the middle of that, don't know if it was the net or what, but point Fort Scott now 12-6. Rodina with the serve. Out of bounds. Serve continues for Fort Scott, now 13-6. Nice job. Goodness gracious, nice job by Fort Scott to keep this going. There's a point and a spike and a block. But Coffeyville is able to keep that going and come away with the point. Now 13-7. Fort Scott, set number 3. That one might have hit just a little heavy. So point goes to Fort Scott and serve. Just couldn't quite get the block back over. So point Fort Scott, now up 15-7 here in set number 3. And the spike attempt goes into the net. Point Coffeyville. And it'll be a point, kind of a challenge. Coffeyville comes away the winner of that one. Now 15-9. And a block by Simeon. Leads to another Coffeyville point. Barely sneaks it over. Barely sneaks it over to the net. Point for Coffeyville, now down 15-11. This is the time to get that rally going if you're a Raven. And that is out. No, they're calling that in. They're calling that in. Well, I think there's a confusion. Yeah, they're going to call a point for Coffeyville. They're going to call a point Coffeyville. They're going to call out of bounds. So here we go. Nice block, nice point by Ashlyn Nelson. It continues for Coffeyville. I believe Fort Scott is going to take a timeout. Coffeyville has come back. They are only down now 15-13 here in set number 3. We'll be back on the Red Raven Sports Network. Back out of the timeout, Coffeyville continues the serve, down 15-13 here on RRSN. That was a nice kill, nice spike there by Sydney Johnson of Fort Scott. Point goes to Fort Scott with the serve. Now 16-13. Thing you got to like about both teams here, there's no panic in either team right now. They're just doing their thing. The spike is good by Ashlyn Nelson. Point and serve to Coffeyville. Now 16-14. Patterson will serve for the Red Ravens. That was a nice kill by Sydney Johnson. Point for Scott. Well-placed ball there. Continues the point for Fort Scott. Now up 18-14 here at set number 3. Coffeyville looking to set it up. There's a kill. Holy cow. That had some mustard on it. I know Domino's Pizza doesn't have mustard, but that had some mustard on it. It is National Cheeseburger Day. Ashlyn Nelson, what a shot. 18-15. Fort Scott with the lead, but Coffeyville with the serve. Nice serve. Now back with the dig is Nelson. Set up. Another dig. And I believe that that might have had a little too much mustard on it as well as it goes off of the ceiling. Point goes to Fort Scott. Might need to raise the roof. Literally. 19-15. Fort Scott with the lead and serve. Fort Scott keeps it alive. Now Coffeyville looking to set it up. Great dig by Fort Scott. And somehow that one just kind of went off the ends of the fingers. Point Coffeyville. Lazenby with a couple of great digs for Fort Scott in that one. On that particular point. Trahan with the kill. Timeout taken by Coffeyville. Fort Scott leads 20-16 here in set number 3. Back with more on the Red Raven Sports Network. Appreciate you joining us here on the Red Raven Sports Network. Coffeyville took set 1, 25-20. Fort Scott took the second set, 25-19. And here in set number 3, Fort Scott leads 20-16. Fort Scott with the serve as well. we go. And that is going to be out. So point goes to Coffeyville. Got to take it over, and they do. Coffeyville looking to set up. And the spike goes off of Anderson. It'll be point Coffeyville. So Coffeyville down by 2 here. But with the serve. Great job of keeping that one alive. They get it over. Nice hit, actually, toward the back. Now, Fort Scott's going to have to take it over, and they do. And it's going to be out of bounds off of Fort Scott. If Coffeyville can come back with a rally here and take set number 3, that would be huge. And the student section back live. They're going to call that in. But Coach Midget is immediately going to challenge the ruling on the court, I believe. So the officials are going to confer here. We may not have to go to the review here. There's already been 3 official reviews in this match so far. So both officials conferring on whether it was in or out. And they're going to call it for Coffeyville. They're going to say it was out. So now we'll see if... Now they're going to call it for Fort Scott. So our officials might have got the direction arrow wrong. They meant to say point for Fort Scott. So Fort Scott with the point, up 21-19 here in set number 3. Great block. Fort Scott keeps it alive. Going to try it again. Looking to set. And it's going to be out of bounds. Point Fort Scott up 22-19 here in set number 3. This is a pivotal set right here for both teams. And that is in. Great play there. I believe that was by Alyssa Bartlett for Coffeyville. The freshman out of Stillwater, Oklahoma. Gives serve back to Coffeyville. Coffeyville gets it back over. Nice dig, keeping it alive. Now Fort Scott looking to set it up. Another nice dig, keeping it alive. Red Ravens get it back over. Fort Scott looks to do it a 3rd time. And that's a point for Coffeyville. Now Coffeyville down 22-21 with the serve. And a block. What a block by Murphy and by Bell. Tied at 22 here in set 3. And I believe there's a timeout on the floor. tied at 22 here in set number 3. We'll be back with more on the Red Raven Sports Network. As we're coming out of timeout, we do want to say a big thank you to Domino's Pizza for being a proud supporter of the Red Raven Sports Network. Here we go. Just barely got that over the net, and it turns into a Coffeyville point. Holy cow. Couldn't have placed that any better. 23-22, Coffeyville. That one a little deeper on the serve. Nice dig. Got to keep it going. Got to put it over. They do. Nice spike, but out of bounds. And Coffeyville can take set number 3 with this point right here. And they do. Coffeyville takes set number 3, 25-22. Coffeyville with a great job. Faced kind of a pretty big deficit at set number 3, but they came back and they take set number 3, 25-22. They lead 2-1. The pivotal 4th set coming up in mere moments on the Red Raven Sports Network. Coffeyville took set number 1, 25-20. Fort Scott took set 2, 25-19. And Coffeyville takes set number 3, 25-22 as we get ready for set 4 action here on the Red Raven Sports Network. Chris Friend alongside. Glad to be with you here. Here we go. Looking to set it up. Coffeyville with the point. 1-0 now here in set number 4. I believe that was Rodriguez with the point. Somehow, Fort Scott almost had another point fall in for them, but it turns into a hit out of bounds against Coffeyville. So we're tied at 1. That was almost the third point against Fort Scott that basically hit the net and just fell in. Fort Scott looking to set it up. Nice job to keep it alive, but Coffeyville can't keep it alive twice. Fort Scott now ahead 2-1 here in set 4. A lot of movement on the floor, causing a lot of perspiration, if you will. Way to keep it alive, Fort Scott. They got to take it over. They've got to put it over, and they do. That allows Coffeyville to set up. And a kill. There's a spike. Nice job by Dayton Bogle. Score knotted up at 2. What a great match between these two teams. Deep in the court, looking to set it up, and that's out of bounds. Point Coffeyville, now ahead 3-2. I tell you what a great match between these two teams. Fort Scott with a 2-14 record coming into this match, but they're definitely not playing like a 2-14 team. That one's out of bounds. Ties the score up at 3 with a serve for Fort Scott. I believe they're 75% freshmen on this Red Raven team. Looking to set up. Nice dig. Trying to keep it going as Fort Scott. They're able to. That one is out. Fort Scott keeps serve at 4-3. So I believe Coffeyville has 75% freshmen on this team. They're not playing like a freshman team. Great back and forth. Nice serve. Coffeyville has to get it over. They do. Try to dive, but point goes to Fort Scott. Now Fort Scott ahead 5-3 here in set number 4. Tried to set it up close to the net, ends up going a little bit too close to the net. Point goes to Coffeyville. Coffeyville now down 5-4 here in set 4. It'll be Bogle with the serve. Looking to keep it alive, back and forth. Now Fort Scott will look to set it up. Goes off the arm and out of bounds. So Fort Scott with the point, now up 6-4 here in set 4. Out of bounds. Off the spike. Now 7-4 Fort Scott. Action continues. Fort Scott with the serve. Nice play, a little miscommunication. Not a Bermuda triangle right there, but almost like a Bermuda square, if you will. Point goes to Coffeyville. Just fell right in the middle of all four of them. O'Brien will serve for Coffeyville. Down 7-5. Looking to set up. Back and forth. Partially blocked and then drops for Fort Scott. Nice serve. Set up. Spiked off the hands of a Fort Scott blocker. Point Coffeyville. Now Coffeyville looking to set up. There we go. Great hustle by Fort Scott, but it's a point for Coffeyville, I swear. Haley Schropp. What a player for Fort Scott. There's the dig to set it up. Blocked and a point Fort Scott again. I believe that was Simeon on the block, and now a timeout called. Coffeyville and Fort Scott tied at 8 here in set number 4. Back with more on the Red Raven Sports Network. Out of the timeout, Coffeyville with the serve. Is this soccer or volleyball? Somehow Coffeyville keeps it alive. It's going to be in, though. Fort Scott with the point, but I'm not exactly sure how in the world. I don't know if that was I guess you can go off the foot. I'm learning something new every day about volleyball. Coffeyville was able to keep that point alive, but Fort Scott turned it into a point for them. Now Fort Scott up 9-8 with the serve. Another dive, my goodness. A block, keeping it alive. Now Coffeyville sets up, and the kill. Tied at 9. Haley Schraub for Fort Scott has been all over this court, diving, trying to keep plays alive, trying to keep points alive, doing an amazing job. Here we go, though. Got to put it over, and Fort Scott does. So Coffeyville able to set up, and it is in. Point for Coffeyville. Coffeyville up 10-9 now. Sorry, I believe that's Fort Scott up 10-9. Sorry about that. But Coffeyville serving. Fort Scott tipped a couple times and a point for the Greyhounds. It was 10-9 Coffeyville with the lead. Before that point now, we're knotted up at 10. But Fort Scott with the serve. What a great match this has been. That might be considered a free ball. Blocked at a point for Coffeyville. What a great job. A great block and point by Simeon. The 6'1 sophomore out of Houston, Texas, with a big point. (11-10). Looking to put it over. Now Coffeyville sets up. Oh, great play there. Going to keep it alive, though. And keep it alive again, but a point back to Coffeyville. So Coffeyville now leads 12-10 here in set number 4. And the serve goes in the net, so point to Fort Scott. Fort Scott down 12-11 now. But with the serve, it's set number 4 from Nellis East. Coffeyville won the first set. Fort Scott won the second. Coffeyville won the third. Here we are in set 4. Looking to put it over. Now Fort Scott looking to set up. Got to put it over. They do. Coffeyville does. Now Fort Scott with it blocked. Now they got to put it over. Back and forth. Fort Scott blocked, and it's going to go off of Fort Scott and out. So Coffeyville with the point, now leading 13-11 here in set number 4. What a great match. It's coming down to the wire, folks. Here's the serve. Right in the circle. Right in the circle. Coffeyville extends their lead, 14-11. Fort Scott sets up. Now Coffeyville. Kept alive by Coffeyville. Going to be out of bounds. Going to be out of bounds point Coffeyville, and a timeout by Fort Scott. Coffeyville leads 15-11 here in set 4. Back with more on the Red Raven Sports Network. Back here in Nellis East, Coffeyville with the lead and the serve in set number 4. Coffeyville leads 15-11. Trying to wrap up this match here in 4 sets. Here's the serve. Coffeyville setting up. Trying to keep it alive. Point Coffeyville, now a 5-point lead, 16-11 here in set 4. You can kind of feel that momentum shift a little bit towards Coffeyville right now. Fort Scott's going to try to break up the serve. Trying to keep it alive. Nice decision there. Good back and forth between both teams. Great placement of the ball. Point Fort Scott. Put it right there in the corner, right next to the net. I believe that was Molly Murphy with the point. So Fort Scott with the serve, now down 16-12 here in set 4. Looking to set up. Keeping it alive. Back and forth at the net here. There's a spike, and it's going to be, we're going to see if they can keep it alive. And how in the world Coffeyville is able to keep that alive off of the ceiling, off the carom, I don't know, but they do. Fort Scott now. Coffeyville puts it back in the net. So a point for Fort Scott. The Greyhounds down 16-13 here in set number 4, trying to keep this match alive. In the net, point Coffeyville. Ravens now up 17-13, and the serve. Bogle will serve for Coffeyville. What a great play by Annabelle Bell to give the point for Coffeyville. Now up 18-13 as serve continues. Fort Scott looks to set up. They do, but a nice dig. Fort Scott. Great play, but a nice recovery by the Red Ravens. Now they have to put it over. Fort Scott keeping it alive. Another dig. Great back and forth on this point. And it's going to be in. Great point for Fort Scott right there. 18-14, Coffeyville with the lead, but Fort Scott with the serve. The volley went a little bit over the net, a little bit too far over the net, leading to a Fort Scott point. Now 18-15. Fort Scott trying to take this to a fifth set. That was a rocket off. Was that tipped? Was it tipped? It was. That was tipped off of Fort Scott. So the point goes to Coffeyville. That was a rocket off the spike, but it was tipped. So point Coffeyville. Coffeyville now leads 19-15. Nice serve, an ace, and now 20-15. Nice serve by Caton O'Brien. Fort Scott looks to set up. That's going to be way out of bounds. Now 21-15. See if the scoreboard is right on that. They said 2016. I believe it's supposed to be, 21-15. Coffeyville with the point, 21-15. Trying to wipe this one off the court as quickly as possible so Coffeyville can keep going here. Coffeyville up 21-15 here in set 4. Great dig by Coffeyville. They'll put it back over. There's almost a nice spike there. Instead, Coffeyville sets their offense. It's going to be tipped. And a point for Coffeyville. Coffeyville starting to come alive here in the last few points. Now up 22-15. Set 4. Coffeyville needs 3 more points to take this match. Off the net, but Fort Scott able to keep it going. Great dig by Fort Scott. They're going to keep it alive, but back and forth now. Now Fort Scott sets it up. Block, kept it alive, put it over. diving, keeping it alive. What a great point between both teams here. Coffeyville puts it right in the middle. Two divers can't get to it. And a point for Coffeyville. Coffeyville now leads 23-15 here in set 4. What a great back and forth. Tremendous point for Coffeyville. Fort Scott looks to set it up. Coffeyville with the spike off of a couple Fort Scott players. Now 24-15. Match point right here for the Red Ravens. Nice dive looking to set up as Fort Scott. Looking to keep this match alive. Aiming for the corner. Now set up by Fort Scott. Blocked. Still set. Kept alive by Fort Scott. And a whistle, and I believe the point will go to Fort Scott. So the point goes to Fort Scott. It's now 24-16, but still match point for Coffeyville. Match point. There's the match right there. Now there's some confusion, but we'll see what's going on here. That should be match, I believe. We won't call it just yet, but at least if I'm keeping score correctly here, it should be 25-16 with the match. So now our linesmen, our line judges, and our two officials getting together here. I would be singing the hey, 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 goodbye for long here, just in case. So while the officials explaining what's going on with second-year head coach Tricia Ham for Fort Scott, seeing what's going on here, get the official ruling. Coffeyville comes away with the victory in 3 sets, 25-20, 19-25, 25-22, 25-16. Coffeyville wins in 3 sets. They will improve to 6-11 on the season. Fort Scott, great effort, but they fall to 2-15. So Coffeyville wins in 3 sets, 25-20, Coffeyville wins in 4 sets, 25-20, 19-25, 25-22, 25-16. We appreciate you joining us here from Nellis East. This has been Red Raven Volleyball on the Red Raven Sports Network.